Hello there. I will be going over a slightly reduced variant of the gear filter that I have set up for the very end game. And the goal of this one is going to be adapting it slightly for what I would call early end game. Um, and what I mean by early end game is you've probably got the gear raids almost all down, if not all down. You're probably not clearing all of the gear dungeons. You have a few sets of SA or Infernal Roar. They're not all great. So you're kind of getting there, but we're not quite there yet. And this is something that my other gear filter just basically will hit you pretty hard and will not really allow you to get what you want out of it. Now, the Dolores one doesn't change all that much, right? It's honestly kind of just you could, if you wanted to, drop HP and rage regen. Um, I honestly, chances are you're really still looking for an Invig set for Dolores. You just kind of drop pretty much everything, and you just keep this, right? That's your Dolores setup. If you're not still looking for that, you can just basically just keep the stats that I had and keep it at 3. But this is gonna be the somewhat default one. Um, and that's really the only two important stats that you have on Dolores is just, you know, invigoration and attack bonus and attack. Now, there is one thing that I'll add here is that at this point, chances are you don't necessarily have the essences to freely kind of upgrade crap, especially for Dolores. So you may want to remove the Asclepius. That's kind of up to you. Just food for thought on that matter. Let's go back down here. I would kind of just simply drop this down to 3, drop these, done. Um, and that's really kind of it. Chances are, if you're trying to build a defense champion for any reason, you're gonna want that def main just so he survives, because I don't think there's any that are actually not melee. And I don't even know if you should be wasting your time on that if you're at that point in the game. But anywho, moving on to the one that's probably more interesting in this lot is the main DPS builds. And here we're just going to drop down to that, add in crit damage mains, and that's it. This will cover the 3 sub gear that at this point you should be aiming for. Anything that doesn't have one of these 2 mains and 3 subs is not worth it for you at all. I also I wouldn't try to tweak this down further, just because if you're at the point where you already have 1 or 2 Infernal Roar / Soulbound Arcana sets, what you really want moving forward is more good ones. And good at that point is what I would define by roughly what you can see here. And God, this is really annoying though to actually set up. Healer attack. Uh, really, again, we have all these mains. It doesn't really matter what the substats are. Chances are any combination of 3 here will be fairly interesting. Now, you're probably going to dumpster a lot just because they don't have speed. That's fine. Um, That being said, if you have an attack bonus, rage regen, healing effect, it could be interesting in some situations. If really you want to cut this down to the absolute maximum, I would shred it down to just attack percent bonus, healing effect, and attack speed in the subs, and make it a two substats, and that's it. Right? If you have that, then you're good to go. And quite honestly, should we do that? Eh, you know what? Yes. We're just going to do that right now and apply it to this rule. Come on. And then here you leave that the same. So there's nothing to change besides just those. If you have two of these subs here, chances are it's a usable piece at this point in the game. T1 sets, we're not going to change anything because in essence, this is all that's really relevant, right? We want one of these two, and then we want three of these subs. It's kind of the same rule that we now have for the tier 2 sets. You'll have to excuse me, I have a cough currently going on. Heal HP, there's really not much to change. Uh, the only the only arguable change that I would do here is honestly who's in this list that you could really be trying to upgrade, like Sadie, Vortex, Medan. I would probably just keep it as is. Um, just because we're keeping a fair amount of stuff already. Uh, I would not lower the requirements on this, and I would just leave it at like that. Glacier damage, we are going to tweak slightly, right? We're going to remove Rage Regen, Flat Attack, and then just drop it to 3. That's it. Which means we keep the two that are somewhat very interesting. Uh, and keep in mind here that when I'm using Glacier, I want someone who's surviving. Chances are I want them more for their ultimate to cycle. So that's why I'm not including crit damage, and I'm instead including attack speed as a second somewhat useful main stat. And then this is just kind of the usual. I don't I don't think there was a single opportunity or situation where you will really use attack speed, but I've been asking myself the question a lot recently. So, I'm just gonna leave it there. Heal HP, we already went over this. Glacier tanky, this is kind of the same system as the previous one. Drop attack, drop rage regen, and drop to 3. That's it. This is so annoying. Nothing changes here. It's a crowd control rule. It doesn't matter. Same concept here. Nothing really changes. Uh, we're kind of just keeping that. Uh, for the sake of just my sanity, we're going to do this. There we go. Makes a fair amount more sense. And then, okay, here's the. So, we are going to have to revisit this rule, just because if I try to add a rule, you'll see that I am out of room. Um, so the way we're going to do this is we're just going to drop this rule entirely. Because this is going to essentially be, like, if we dial this down more, it's just going to be covered by a rule that we'll be setting up anyways. So manage plan, 2-piece sets. Wait, how do I... There we go. Hello? There we go. So delete that one. Now we're going to go back to our 3-piece sets. go to the tank flat, drop flat defense, drop it to 2. And then we're going to create tank flat 2. It's going to be in shaken will, tempered will, morale, invigoration. We're never going to send Asclepius pieces for this. Guardian. It's going to be HP or def mains with HP or def subs, and then I think it. Did I mess this up? No. Yeah, there we go. Right? It's the same rule, except that instead of flat HP, we're looking for flat defense. And that will make more of them, more of the pieces kept and available to so you can keep on kitting out your tanks, but just with vastly reduced requirements compared to before. And you'll be keeping a lot more gear, and you'll be able to roll a lot more stuff to +8. I spent a phenomenal amount of time in this game just rolling stuff to +8 and then discarding if the rolls were bad. Um, and now we move on to left side pieces. Here we're so on the DPS gear, we're gonna drop 2/3, drop flat attack, drop rage regen, drop HP. Now if we had more rules, so this is more for people who decide that they want to delete some of the rules that basically passed over, like the tier 1 sets, the Dolores, the stupid crap that people may not necessarily care about. If they do want to delete them, you could split this up in a more sensible way, I think. Wait, can you not make two different... I guess you can't? They don't allow you to separate between the primary attributes, I guess. Damn, that sucks. Never mind. Well, I take back whatever I was going to start saying. This is probably the way to go, right? You're going to want 3 of these, at least, on either torsos or weapons to make them worthwhile. And we go back down. Crowd control, champions, it doesn't change. Healer HP, it does change. We're going to drop to 2. We're going to drop flat HP, and really that's it. As long as we have 2 out of these, chances are it's going to be a usable piece. I would, you know what? I'm going to toss in Whirlwind in this rule. And I'll probably update my main filter as well to include this. I'm not sure why I didn't do it initially. But, oh well. Tank does not change, but I might have already said that. Healer attack left side. We are also going to be dropping down to 3. Dump rage regen, dump attack. Drop HP. Wait, no. The I guess we're just gonna drop to 3, really. If we take it too low, that's not great, right? Because healer base healer doesn't have this extra benefit of like 2 main stat bonuses, so it makes sense to drop it to 2. This one makes a lot more sense to drop it only to 3. And this is also why there was a 3 required for HP healers on my main filter, and then only 2 for or whatever. I'm confusing myself. Note to self: try to not record shit when you have cough and a fever, but that's besides the point. And I think we've covered all of these because this was edited, DPS left was edited. Healer HP was at it. Yeah, okay, so that's all of the left side sets covered as well, which results in, once more, about 20 rules. End of this code right here. I will add it both to the video and to the GitHub page that I am going to be maintaining moving forward for these filters. Um, that being said, I don't think I will ever change really the the mid game or early end game filters unless I get specific feedback about them. So if I do get specific feedback on, hey, you dumbass, you forgot this specific combination that's great for this stage of gameplay, then I will revisit that, update everything I can, and possibly just, either take down the video or restart, or I don't know. Point is, feedback is always welcome, especially on these, because I'm not going to be able to test them very well, which is why I based them off of the base template of a filter that I spent a lot of time uh, actually editing and tweaking, and that I exploited a lot of people on the cluster slash guild to have them test it for me and provide feedback as well. Anywho, that roughly covers it on the early endgame filter. So cheers, and you have a nice one.